The sidewalk shimmered under the late afternoon sun, lines of heat bending the air just slightly above the cracked pavement. Noah Bennett, 16, walked the same route he always did after school, headphones on, backpack slung low, his sneakers rhythmically tapping against the concrete. Silverwood Grove, his neighborhood, looked like a postcard. Manicured hedges, tidy porches, wind chimes whispering in the breeze. But for Noah, it never felt quiet. It felt watched. Curtains twitched as he passed. Mrs. Fenwick's Persian cat sat in the window like an indifferent sentry. Mr. Hall adjusted his sprinklers just as Noah stepped onto the edge of his lawn, only to mutter something under his breath and turn them off again when Noah had passed. Still, Noah didn't look up. He never did. Keep your head up, but your guard higher, his father used to say. Major Darius Bennett didn't talk often, but when he did, his words stayed. Even when the man himself was thousands of miles away on what Noah's mother always called consulting assignments. Noah turned the volume up on his music. Jazz today. Cello. It soothed the current under his skin. He was 2 blocks from home when the police cruiser slowed beside him. He knew the sound before he turned, that deliberate crawl of suspicion, that low hum of power edging toward confrontation. The window rolled down. "Hey, you there? Hold up." Noah paused, removing one earbud slowly. A white officer leaned out, expression unreadable but eyes sharp. Officer Kyle Mercer, though Noah didn't know that name yet. "Where are you headed?" Mercer asked, already out of his cruiser and approaching. "Home," Noah replied evenly. "On Birchwood." "You live here?" Mercer's tone wasn't curious. It was already accusatory. Noah nodded. "Yes, sir." "ID?" "I'm 16. I only have my school ID." As Noah reached slowly for his backpack, Mercer's voice snapped like a whip. "Keep your hands where I can see them." Noah froze. Both palms are visible. Still. Mercer circled him like a man inspecting something out of place. The badge on his chest gleamed in the sunlight, but his voice held no official weight, only personal discomfort laced with control. "What's in the bag?" "Textbooks, basketball shoes, charger." "Empty it." Noah knelt, opened the zipper, and laid out each item with careful precision. Mercer didn't find anything because there was nothing to find. And yet, he stayed. A few cars passed. One neighbor stood at their window, watching but not intervening. "Your parents home?" "My mom should be home soon." "Dad?" Noah hesitated. Mercer's tone had changed, less hostile, more mocking. "He's away." "For work?" "Yes." "What kind of work keeps a father away from his kid this much?" Noah looked straight ahead, his throat tightened, but he held the line. "Special Forces." Mercer blinked shut, and then he laughed. It wasn't a short, dismissive laugh. It was a performance. A chuckle that turned into a jeer, echoing down the suburban sidewalk like a schoolyard taunt from a grown man. "Special Forces. What, like a real G.I. Joe?" he barked, loud enough for others to hear. Noah didn't flinch, didn't look away. Mercer leaned closer. "Listen, kid, I was in the military once. I know what real soldiers look like. You expect me to believe that some ghost operative lives in a house with wind chimes and porch pumpkins?" "I didn't ask you to believe me," Noah said, his voice quiet, dignified. Across the street, a teenage girl watched, barely visible behind the oak tree. Layla Owens, in jeans and a hoodie, phone in hand. She didn't know why she started filming, maybe instinct, maybe anger. Officer Mercer eventually waved Noah off, muttering something under his breath. "Go on, and stay out of trouble, kid. You're lucky I'm being nice." Noah zipped up his backpack, shouldered it, walked. As he reached the corner, he placed his earbud back in, not to listen, but to block out the world for a second longer. Behind him, Officer Mercer watched. Something about that boy's stillness, that calm, got under his skin. And in that moment, the fuse was lit. A laugh had been thrown like a spark. But the man Noah called father, he didn't need to speak to be heard. And he was already on his way home. The problem with some men, Elena Bennett often thought, is not that they ask questions. It's that they only want answers that confirm their suspicions. And Officer Kyle Mercer was exactly that kind of man. By the next morning, Mercer had already requested background files on the Bennett family. Basic stuff, home ownership, school records, tax filings. Most came back clean, too clean. That bothered him more than if he'd found something. Noah Bennett's school report described him as courteous, academically strong, socially reserved. No infractions, no behavior concerns, a model student, exactly the type Mercer didn't trust. His mother, Elena Bennett, worked as a hospital administrator at Ridgeview Medical. Well paid, highly respected, the kind of woman who had never smiled at him when he waved from his cruiser. That bothered him, too. But the father, Darius Bennett, was a blank space. No employment record, no social media, a few joint property documents, a single marriage license, and one note in a federal database. Access restricted. Classified clearance required. Mercer's lips curled into a frustrated smirk. Who the hell are you? Back at home, Noah sat at the kitchen table, pencil in hand, pretending to focus on calculus. But his mind replayed yesterday's encounter on loop. The way Mercer had laughed. The way people stared but said nothing. Across from him, his mother moved with quiet efficiency, pouring coffee, sorting the mail, watching him without watching him. You're not telling me everything, she said gently, not looking up. Noah didn't reply. Was it just a stop, she asked. No. Did he ask about your dad? A pause. Yeah. What did you tell him? Noah lowered his pencil, that he was in special forces. Lena closed her eyes for a moment, not out of anger, but fear, measured, old. We've talked about this, Noah. You can't share that, not with strangers, especially not someone like Mercer. I didn't give details, he said. He was implying Dad wasn't real, that he'd left us. And so you told the truth to defend your father's honor, Elena murmured, her voice soft but heavy. I get it, baby, but Darius doesn't need defending. Not with words. Noah didn't reply. He didn't need to. That afternoon, Layla Owens approached Noah outside the school library. She didn't start with a greeting. I filmed it, the whole thing yesterday. Noah blinked. Because it was wrong. He looked away. I don't need a viral video. Layla shook her head. I haven't posted anything. I showed it to my dad. Noah turned, eyes narrowing slightly. My dad's a civil rights attorney, she added quickly. He said it's solid documentation. He also said Mercer had no legal basis for the stop. Doesn't matter, Noah muttered. People won't care. He didn't hit me, didn't shout. It'll just be another video of a black kid looking suspicious in a nice neighborhood. Layla hesitated. What if I told you I'm not doing this for attention? What if I just want the record to exist in case something happens? Noah met her gaze. There was no pity in her eyes, just a purpose and something that looked like respect. I appreciate it, he said at last. Meanwhile, Mercer sat in his parked cruiser outside 1742 Birchwood Drive, binoculars in hand. The Bennett's house was ordinary. 2 stories, brick trim, porch plants, a basketball hoop is above the garage. Nothing suspicious. Nothing except how little there was to see. He spotted Elena through the kitchen window. Noah passed once in the living room, but no sign of the father. He climbed out of his vehicle and crossed to the sidewalk. He didn't knock, didn't walk up the steps, just stared. 2 houses down, Mrs. Greta Hopkins noticed him and came outside, curious. "Looking for someone?" she asked. Mercer turned on the charm. "Just checking on the neighborhood. You know the Bennetts?" "Of course, Elena's wonderful. Her boy's quiet but polite. Helps me with groceries sometimes." "What about the husband?" Greta furrowed her brow. "Darius? Nice man. Handy. Doesn't talk much. Always seems to be away on work trips." "What kind of work?" She shrugged. "Military, I think. Elena doesn't talk about it. Very private." Mercer thanked her with a polite smile, but inside something was grinding. That night, Elena received a text on her secure line, a separate phone tucked in a kitchen drawer, known only to a few. New inquiry from unauthorized law enforcement contact. Monitoring engaged. She deleted the message and locked the drawer. "Someone's getting curious," she muttered to herself. Upstairs, Noah was asleep, dreams undisturbed. But downstairs, the winds were shifting. A quiet storm had begun to swell, and somewhere far away, a plane touched down hours ahead of schedule. Major Darius Bennett was coming home. The air on Saturday was warm enough to coax the neighborhood kids outdoors, flooding sidewalks with bikes, jump ropes, and basketballs. Noah Bennett stood at the far end of the public court, his hoodie tied around his waist, hands dusted with chalk from the ball. A rare laugh escaped him as he passed it to Chris, his teammate. For a moment, it was easy to forget the scrutiny, easy to just be 16. But that moment didn't last. 2 police cruisers pulled into the lot, sirens off, lights flashing. The game slowed, then stopped. All eyes turned. Officer Kyle Mercer stepped out of the first car, flanked by 2 others. Civilian clothes, badge clipped to his belt, cuff pouch visible. His eyes locked on Noah. "Noah Bennett," he barked. "Step over here, now." The court fell silent. Even the birds seemed to hold their breath. Noah stood still, his voice calm. "What's this about?" "There was a disturbance reported nearby," Mercer said, walking closer. "You match the description." Chris stepped forward. "We've been here over an hour. The only disturbance was us arguing about fouls." "Stay out of it, kid," Mercer snapped. Noah's posture didn't shift. "You're not even in uniform." Mercer pulled out his badge. "I don't need the uniform to detain you." "For what?" Noah asked again, his tone cool. "I haven't done anything." Mercer's jaw flexed. "Turn around, hands behind your back." The basketball rolled to the edge of the court. Noah didn't resist. He glanced once at the crowd of teens forming around them. Then slowly, deliberately, he complied. Click. The cuffs closed around his wrists. Mercer said nothing else. He just pulled Noah toward the cruiser. Across the street, Layla Owens was already recording. No music, no commentary, just a clean, steady frame. Then she hit Goliath Babyshem. At the precinct, Elena Bennett arrived like a contained explosion. Professional attire, heels clicking hard against the tile. Her purse was forgotten in the front seat of her car. "I want to see my son," the front desk officer stammered. "Ma'am, I'm not sure He was arrested at a public court in full view of witnesses and video, and he is 16. Her voice never rose. That made it all the more chilling. "I want his release. Now." Sergeant Linda Moore stepped out from a side hallway, a clipboard in hand, a frown already forming. "Elena, come with me." Inside the holding room, Noah sat upright, cuffed to the table, breathing slowly and deeply. Mercer paced the room like a man who didn't realize he'd already lost. "You know," he said, voice low and charged, "I dug into your family." Noah stared ahead. "Your mom? Nothing there. Your dad?" Mercer leaned down. "Your dad's a ghost." Noah blinked once. "And yet you still feel haunted." Mercer's nostrils flared. "Your father's not a hero. He's a threat. I'll prove it, one way or another." The door opened before he could continue. Sergeant Moore stood in the doorway, arms crossed. Step away, Mercer. He straightened. Excuse me? You're relieved, effective immediately. What? Elena Bennett filed a complaint with video evidence. You're under internal review again. As Mercer turned toward her, another presence entered the room behind her. Not in uniform, no badge, but the entire room shifted around him. Major Darius Bennett stepped through the doorway like gravity had decided he mattered most. Eyes sharp, shoulders squared. A quiet storm, perfectly contained. His voice was low, but it filled the room. I'm here for my son. Mercer stepped back instinctively. Sergeant Moore nodded. He's being released, Major. Noah looked up. Their eyes met, and the boy who had held himself still through hours of public shame allowed himself one quiet breath. Let's go home, Darius said. In the car, Darius drove in silence. Elena sat in the passenger seat, fingers tight around her phone. From the back, Noah's voice finally broke the quiet. He won't stop. Darius didn't glance in the mirror. He already made his last mistake. Are you sure? This time Darius did look up, into the rear view, into his son's face. He thinks this is a game of exposure, he said, but this isn't a game. What is it? A miscalculation. That night, Mercer sat in his apartment, blinds drawn, laptop open. He scrolled through classified databases, still blocked, until something changed. Access granted, limited record. He opened the file, deployments blacked out, mission logs redacted, but one line was visible. Bennett Darius, active, Tier 1 clearance, operational, shadow protocol. Mercer stared, then whispered to himself, what the hell did I just touch? The message came at 11:07 a.m. from Layla Owens. Need to talk. Emergency. Meet at Crawford Trail. Don't tell parents. Noah stared at his phone, unease growing in his chest. It didn't feel right. Layla never used that tone, never asked him to hide anything, and she never texted during third period, especially not from a number that wasn't saved in his phone. He didn't reply. He walked downstairs into the kitchen, where his father sat at the island disassembling a phone that didn't look like any model Noah recognized. Something wrong? Darius Bennett asked without looking up. Noah hesitated, then passed over the phone. Darius scanned the message once, then again. A slow exhale escaped his chest. Good instinct not to go, he said simply. Then he reached for his watch, sleek, matte black, tapped the side twice. Secure protocol enabled. What's going on? Noah asked. Darius rose from his chair, calm, composed. He's coming, Darius said, already moving. And this time, he's not coming as a cop. Across town, Officer Kyle Mercer sat in a borrowed van, parked half a block away from the Bennett's house. He wasn't wearing a uniform. He hadn't worn one in days. The suspension had stripped him of authority, but not of obsession. The message he sent Noah had been bait, and now he waited, impatient, twitchy. He didn't notice the birds had gone quiet. He didn't see the thermal sensors quietly tracking his heat signature from the trees. He didn't know the house was empty on purpose. Back at the Bennett home, Elena locked the last of the windows as Darius pulled a slim case from beneath the floorboards. Inside, a compact headset, small encrypted devices, and a folding tactical knife that looked far too well used. You said we were done with this, she said softly. We were, Darius replied, strapping the device to his wrist. Until he started using our son. Elena stepped in front of him. He's unhinged. You can't predict him. I don't need to, Darius said, voice low. I've already set the map. He's walking straight into it. Mercer made his move just after noon. He approached from the side yard, avoiding the cameras he thought he had already disabled. A crash of glass. A metal canister rolled through the back door, smoke hissing from its base. Inside the house, motion sensors triggered. A silent alert pinged Darius's secondary phone. Perimeter breach. Initiate phase 2. Then the feed switched to live view. Mercer, fully masked, dragging Noah out the back door, gun in hand. Noah didn't resist. His eyes stayed steady, his breathing even. He wasn't afraid. He was ready. Mercer shoved Noah into the back of a nondescript car, zip ties biting into his wrists. "You and me, son," he muttered. "No feds, no secrets, no daddy to hide behind this time." Noah said nothing, but in his pocket, beneath the fabric lining, a tracking beacon activated the moment the door slammed shut. 20 minutes later, they arrived at an abandoned warehouse on the edge of town, the kind of place built for rust and forgotten echoes. Mercer shoved Noah into a chair beneath a swaying light bulb, zip-tied him to the frame. A camera stood on a tripod. The red light blinked once. "This is where the truth comes out," Mercer hissed. "No more games, no more lies." Still, Noah remained calm, quiet. His posture didn't shift. But behind his silence, his father's voice echoed. "The most dangerous thing you can do to a man like him is refuse to give him the reaction he wants." Meanwhile, Darius watched from a laptop 3 blocks away, every move broadcast from the camera Mercer had so carefully set up. He turned to the man beside him, gray suit, earpiece, no name. "You're going in alone?" the man asked. Darius stood, buttoned his jacket. "Yes." "You're not authorized to—" "I don't need authorization," Darius replied. "I need my son." When Darius entered the warehouse, it was like the air folded around him. No theatrics, no shouting, just his presence, still and calculated. "Let him go," he said softly. Mercer whipped around, gun raised. "You shouldn't have come," Mercer snarled. "Now everyone will know what you are." "They already know," Darius said, stepping closer. "A father." Mercer fired once. The bullet missed. Darius didn't. In 2 fluid movements, he closed the distance, disarmed Mercer, and struck him at a nerve cluster in the wrist that dropped the man like a dead weight. Mercer hit the floor, coughing, disoriented. Darius didn't look down. He cut Noah free with one swipe of his blade. "You okay?" he asked. Noah nodded, blinking once. "Did you have to wait that long?" Had to be sure he played all his cards. Outside, sirens began to wail. SWAT vans, federal sedans, flashing lights. Backup had always been coming, just not for Mercer. As they walked into the sunlight together side by side, father and son, Darius didn't look back. And behind them, Kyle Mercer was carried away in cuffs, still screaming about secrets and lies no one would believe anymore, because the truth was standing right in front of them. And it didn't need to shout. The town hall had never been so full. It was 3 weeks after the warehouse incident, and Silverwood Grove sat under a different kind of pressure. Not fear, but scrutiny. Protesters still circled the police precinct twice a day. Editorials in the local paper ran headlines like, "Trust Shattered," and not just a bad apple. But tonight wasn't about Mercer. It was about something deeper. About repair. About accountability. About what comes after the truth explodes. The mayor cleared her throat. "Before we begin the public hearing, our guest has requested to say a few words." All eyes turned as Darius Bennett stepped onto the stage. No uniform, no rank, just a plain blue shirt, dark slacks, and a man who moved like stillness had chosen him. "Thank you," he said into the mic, voice firm but without edge. "I'm not here to discuss classified details. I'm not here to settle scores. I'm here as a father." He let that settle. The room was silent. "What happened to my son is not unique. It only became visible." People shifted in their seats. "I've served in places most of you have only seen on the news. I've been shot at. I've buried teammates. I've operated in countries that didn't want me there. And yet, the first time my son was zip-tied and humiliated, it wasn't on a battlefield. It was here, at home. Darius's voice never wavered. That made it impossible to ignore. We cannot claim to protect our communities while turning suspicion into policy. We cannot say we care about our children if some of them can't walk home without being treated like threats. He paused, looked out across the sea of faces, some ashamed, some inspired. Justice begins where excuses end. When he finished, the applause wasn't thunderous. It was respectful. Even those who had stayed silent during the worst of it now found themselves nodding, not because they agreed with every B-wo-D, but because they had seen what silence cost. In the following weeks, reforms came fast. Officer Mercer faced multiple federal charges: unlawful arrest, illegal surveillance, and attempted abduction of a minor. He was denied bail. An internal investigation revealed a pattern of targeted harassment in his previous post, ignored until now. The Silverwood Police Department was restructured and a new community oversight board was formed, with Noah Bennett appointed as an inaugural member. The high school incorporated civic accountability and digital ethics into its curriculum, using Layla's footage as a case study. And Noah was no longer just a quiet kid with a sharp mind and a distant father. He had become a symbol of quiet resilience. "Mr. Harris asked me to give a speech at graduation," Noah said one night, staring at his untouched dinner. His father looked up. "What would you say?" Noah shrugged. "I don't know. You don't have to say everything. Just say something true." That night, Noah drafted one line on a notepad. "The strongest person in the room isn't always the loudest. Sometimes it's the one who stays upright when no one else will." As for Layla Owens, her documentation had gone viral. Not for the views, but for what it showed: a system failing in daylight, and a boy refusing to bow. A scholarship came in the mail, a full-ride journalism and justice studies. She knocked on Noah's door the next day. "Thank you," she said, "for not crumbling. It gave me something real to capture." Noah smiled faintly. "You gave it to the world." Weeks later, Darius opened the doors to a small center downtown, the Bennett Academy for Youth Integrity and Leadership. It wasn't a gym. It wasn't a dojo. It was a place where young people learned how to hold their ground, how to stay calm when the world wanted them to break, how to use silence as strength, not surrender. On the wall hung a framed quote: "Dignity isn't taught, it's inherited, but it must be protected by every generation." And in the crowd that day, among teachers, students, and strangers, stood a few police officers, watching, listening, learning. The lesson: what happened to Noah Bennett wasn't just about a boy and a badge. It was about perception, about how we see one another, or how we choose not to. It was about how dignity can be stolen in seconds, but restored by a lifetime of example. And most importantly, true power isn't control, it's restraint. True legacy isn't dominance. It's how your children carry your silence. If you felt something from this story, like, comment, or share it. Not because it's easy to watch, but because it's harder to ignore once you do.